Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the 9-game Saturday slate. Happy Saturday, first of all. Hopefully, you guys all had a good Christmas. It's a very busy day today. We have a 9-game basketball slate, and then we have a 3-game football slate starting at 1 p.m., and then we have a full slate tomorrow for football. So, a jam-packed weekend of sports. Wouldn't want it any other way. So, let's get started. As always, appreciate you guys hit the like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Gonna be going through this pretty quickly because I have to make my football video still, and I'll kind of just try to get both out in the morning. So, looking back at yesterday's games, the first two ended up being blowouts, and that kind of sucked because, well, had a lot of Drew Holiday, had DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo was okay, but there was a lot of snowflakes in the first couple games, and then you had a few pieces go off in the late games. But it wasn't as high scoring of a Christmas Day slate as you would have expected. Today's slate is pretty crazy because we have the Rockets just down to 8 guys, available players. They've already been listed, so you're probably going to want to start with Houston on this 9-game slate. We could also start with Washington because there's a chance Russell Westbrook will be rested today. He's either going to be rested today or tomorrow, but we don't have that news yet, so we'll start with Houston. James Harden is the first guy you would want to play at 10-9. I know he doesn't look like he wants to be there. He's not motivated. But if they're down to 8 guys, you're gonna see Harden just dominate the usage. There is nobody else that he's gonna be playing alongside with gonna be able to handle the ball like him. We've seen this last year. Without Westbrook last season, he just took over and was putting up huge games, and it's even better with them. He's not only missing John Wall, he's not only missing Cousins, he's also missing Gordon, another decent usage player that will take a lot of shots. So it's just a really, really good spot for James Harden at 10-9 on a slate where, looking at the superstars to pay up for, you have Harden at 10-9, then you have Westbrook, who could be rested today, and then you just have Embiid and Towns, 2 center plays. So there's not that many other expensive guys above 10K to pay up for. You're going to want to deal with Harden. Kind of tough not to have at least like 3 Houston players in a lineup if you're for cash at least. Christian Wood is $5,900. That makes no sense. They should have priced him up to at least like 7K, 7,500 when they figured out that Cousins was gonna miss 7 days due to quarantining. He's 5,900. It really doesn't make any sense at all. He's gonna be starting in this game, which should probably log like heavy minutes as long as he's not in foul trouble or anything like that. He's a very, very good player, as we saw last season with the Pistons, and then they gave him a big contract in the offseason. So you gotta like Christian Wood here. I think he looks like a very solid play. And the third Houston player is probably gonna be Daniel House at 47. He's gonna be the second guy that's gonna be able to shoot a lot. I think Harden and House will shoot a bunch, and Wood will shoot like a lot too. Those three are gonna be really good plays today. So here's the third guy that I would have in my Houston stack. The fourth guy would be whoever starts. If it's Nawaba, I think he looks solid. Or if it's, I don't like Sterling Brown anyways. So it would be David Nawaba at 3K. Whether he starts or comes off the bench, he is at least like a guy that can shoot a little bit. Looking back at his days with Chicago, he has at least some NBA experience, and that's very limited on this Houston team right now because besides Brown and Nawaba and Tucker, the other three don't have very much experience. Caboclo played a little bit with the Grizzlies, but he's very young too. But these three are definitely the plays I would start with on Houston. And then you can look at shooting guard here. I'll touch on some other plays at point guard that look appealing. Like I think De'Aaron Fox at 8,700 looks solid at against Phoenix at home. You could look to Damian Lillard if you want to stack that entire game up. He's 95 coming off of a loss in the first game. SGA looked solid. Didn't get a play in the first game because of Houston, but price tag is fair. He's going to be the #1 guy on the team. They're going to struggle definitely this season shooting and scoring, but I think you can also take a shot on George Hill on that team, who's only $3,400, and he would be a nice, really, really cheap play that's going to be starting and probably log like 25 to 30 minutes. I'll probably put Harden at shooting guard because point guard wise, I like DeJounte Murray. 6,400 for Murray against Toronto. It's a tough defensive spot, but he's just going to have a lot of opportunities until Derek White comes back, just handling the ball. The Spurs offense was on fire in that first game. It was against Memphis, who they play fast. This game it was going to be a lot slower, but I still like Murray. He's going to play, over 30 minutes, he can be a really, really disruptive force on defense, getting you steals, getting you rebounds, assists. I think at 64, looking at some of these other pricings at point guard, he just sticks out because he's just super affordable. So I'll put Murray at point guard. I'll put Harden at shooting guard. At power forward here, we have Sabonis, who I like at 85 against Chicago. Just missed the end of last season, but he kind of picked up right where he left off in that first game with 32, 13, and 5 against the Knicks. It's another front court where he should be able to have advantages against Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter. So he's the top play at power forward for me, and then you can look to Nance if Kevin Love is out again. You can look to Tobias to bounce back at 6,700. I think Bagley looks solid at 57. He almost had a double-double in that first game. He took 14 shots, which is good to see. Only made 5 of them. So definitely room for improvement there. It was a tough spot against Denver, a good defense on the road. But now he's back at home against Phoenix. Should be a high-scoring game. And he fouled out in that game. So he only played 27 minutes, but he definitely would have played 30-plus if he wasn't in foul trouble. 57, not a lot of value right now on the slate, besides the obvious Houston value. And like value at the position at power forward, there's nobody that really jumps off the page that's just sticking out to me to play. So I think Bagley at 57 can be a great source of cheap value at power forward, maybe get you a double-double. The other guy would be Bazley at 5,100. But OKC just worries me a little bit besides like Hill, Horford, and SGA. We'll see, because they do have a lot of young players that they can play. And then at guard, I think you can look to George Hill, 3,400, a really good value play. If you don't want to play Nawaba and have 4 Houston players, you can put in George Hill and maybe be a little different that way. Going to be starting. They've already told us that he's cheap. He's not the most exciting player to roster for fantasy, but I think he'll be able to get the job done. And at least he would still 6,500 left, so still plenty of salary to work with. You can plug in like a Fox if you want, or a Vucevic, or a Drummond, or SGA. Maybe put in Sabonis here too. Gobert was great in that first game. He's pretty affordable. You can play Gobert, play Brogdon, other guys that are expensive that you can put in at utility. For some cheaper plays, if Russell Westbrook is out, then that's just going to shake up the entire slate. You're just going to start with Bradley Beal, Harden. Those will be, and like Wood will be the 3 guys that you start your lineup with if Westbrook sits here. And Bryant would be a nice play too at 67. I guess kind of mainly it, looking at the expensive plays. If you want to look for a cheap play under 5K, you can maybe look to like a Terrence Ross is 4,500 against Washington. Can definitely fill it up off the bench. Troy Brown, if Westbrook is out, is 4,300. That looks to be a nice cheap play that you can go to. Biyombo, if he's starting, which probably he will be with Cody Zeller out, you can look to him as a cheap center play. So there's a lot of potential. There's still going to be a lot of news on the slate. 9 games. But right now in the morning, these 6 plays stick out to me. So let's go over to Fanduel, see what we're liking over there. All right, Fanduel. You have Harden at 11K, still the first guy that will plug in. Westbrook, we got to wait on his news. That was definitely going to shake it up. Right now, I'm assuming he plays, but obviously it's a 50-50 shot. So until we get word, I'm just going to assume he's in. Other guys looking at point guard here. You have Fox at just 8,200. I like that salary a lot. You have Brogdon at 71. He's just another guy that looks appealing. Murray at 69. Definitely playable. Yeah, Rozier go absolute bonkers in that first game. He's up to 6,400 now, so a little bit less appealing. You have Kobe White coming off of an absolute dud, down to 6K, so maybe he able to bounce back. So could be a potential bounce back candidate. Same thing with Markelle Fultz. Fultz was pretty good in the first game, but 59 for him. You can definitely look to him to have another decent game. And then Hill is definitely a fade at 5,000. Killian Hayes is a fade. There's nobody else I'm really jumping towards unless it's Ish Smith. If Westbrook is out, he's only 3,900. He would be a nice play. But FanDuel, you start with Harden. You start with Daniel House, who's only 3,700. Just crazy cheap. And then you start with Christian Wood, who's only 6,700. Same three that I'm starting with on DraftKings that a lot of people will do, but I just don't see how you don't do it with just having 8 active players. You're going to want to have at least probably 3 or if not 4 of them. You have Nawaba min-priced shooting guard play. You have Tucker really cheap on Fanduel at 4,200 as a center play. You have Biombo also almost min-price at 3,800. So quite a bit of cheap plays that you can look to. The point guard play I like is Fox right now at 82. I think he's going to have a very good game against Phoenix. Like that salary on him. And then at center here, you have Embiid, Towns. They're the two best spend-up options on the slate. Looking for a cheaper play, you could look at DeAndre Ayton at 74, maybe Nurkic at 7K. And then if you want to go cheap, Thomas Bryant I would like a lot if Westbrook is out, just because there's going to be so much usage. You have Holmes at 47. It's not. I think I'd rather go with like Bagley at power forward at 6K. A little bit more expensive than he is on DraftKings, but he's definitely playable. Center, I'm still kind of deciding if I'm going to go with like Biombo at his cheap price tag, or maybe to go with like Tucker at 4,200. We'll see, but at power forward, you have Sabonis at 85, who looks solid. You have Aldridge at 7K, is playable. Blake Griffin is only 6,600. That looks pretty solid. And then I like Bagley at 6,000. So right now at center, I think maybe Biombo looks solid. 38. Maybe I'll get up to a Tucker, not sure yet, but Fox, Harden, House, Wood, Biombo leaves you with still 6,650. Still got plenty of news that we're waiting on for the slate, but this is a nice little rundown. Give you guys at least a preview of what to expect for tonight. So thanks for watching, appreciate it, and best of luck.